The Aurora drifted through the endless stretch of space, a silver speck moving through the darkness. Stars twinkled in every direction, distant and cold, and the blackness between them seemed infinite. Captain Ilara Miles sat in her command chair, eyes fixed on the viewport, watching the empty void. For weeks, they had been charting unclaimed sectors of the Andromeda expanse, mapping planets, scanning for resources, and documenting anomalies. Space was quiet, almost too quiet, and that always made her uneasy. "Another empty sector, Captain," Lieutenant Dax said, breaking the silence. He leaned over the console, tapping commands on the holographic display. The screens flickered as the ship's sensors swept the nearby space. "Nothing but gas clouds and dead stars. We've been at it for hours." Ilara nodded, her brow furrowing. "Keep scanning, Dax. Something always shows up eventually. We just need to be patient." The Aurora hummed softly, its engines vibrating with a gentle resonance. The ship had carried humans through the void before, to distant planets and even into contested territories where alien technology had long been abandoned. Humans had a reputation for adaptability, for thinking in ways no machine or alien intelligence could. That skill had kept them alive more than once. Then the sensors beeped. A soft, irregular ping echoed through the bridge. Dax froze, staring at the screen. "Captain, I'm getting a reading. It's unusual." "What kind of reading?" Ilara asked, leaning forward. "It's a ship," he said slowly. "Unregistered. No identification code. It's moving, and I'm not detecting any life signs." Ilara's pulse quickened. Unregistered ships weren't unheard of, but most of the time, they were derelict, drifting in space with their crews long gone. Yet something about the signal was different. The ship wasn't drifting aimlessly. It was moving, and it was moving toward them. "Bring it up on the main screen," Ilara ordered. A massive silhouette appeared on the viewport, black against the scattered light of distant stars. The edges were worn, the hull scarred in places, and emergency lights flickered weakly. The ship had no markings, no recognizable structure, yet it moved with a slow, deliberate grace. It rotated slightly, as though acknowledging the Aurora's presence, even though no one had been aboard to guide it. "Looks abandoned," Dax muttered, voice low. "But it's moving on its own. That shouldn't be possible." Ilara studied it, her mind racing. Humans were explorers, not cowards. Their survival had always depended on curiosity, on stepping into places others feared to go. Yet the thought of boarding a moving abandoned ship, possibly centuries old, was dangerous, very dangerous. "Set a course to match its trajectory," she said finally. "We'll keep a safe distance, but I want to see where it's heading." The Aurora adjusted its engines, gliding toward the mysterious vessel. The closer they got, the larger it appeared on the screen, massive and imposing. Its hull, though battered, showed signs of advanced technology, something humans had never encountered before. The crew gathered around the main display. Ensign Mara, the youngest on board, whispered, "It's like it's waiting for us." Ilara nodded, feeling the same strange sensation. The ship's movement wasn't random. It wasn't drifting. It was aware. Somehow, in some way beyond human comprehension, it knew they were there. "Prepare the docking bay," she ordered. "I want a team ready. We're going to board it. Carefully." Dax shook his head. "Captain, this could be a trap. There's no one on that ship, yes. But something is moving it. We don't know what we're dealing with." Ilara's gaze was steady. "I know. That's why we need to understand it. Humans survive by adapting. We face the unknown. We figure out what others fear. That's what we do. Get your gear ready. I'm going in." Minutes passed, and the team suited up. The docking sequence began as the Aurora edged closer. The abandoned ship seemed almost alive, its massive body turning slowly to face the approaching humans. As the docking clamps attached, the airlock hissed, opening with a sound that echoed through the silent void. Inside, the ship was dark. Emergency lights bathed the corridors in a dull red glow. Dust floated in the artificial gravity fields, and the faint hum of long-unused systems resonated beneath their feet. The crew stepped cautiously, moving as a single unit, weapons and scanners at the ready. "It's empty," Mara whispered, eyes wide. "Not even a single crew member." "Looks that way," Dax said. "But sensors are picking up residual activity. Something remains here." They explored the lower decks first. Abandoned cabins lined the corridors, personal items scattered across the floor, logs and records, digital and analog, lay in disarray. It was clear the crew had left suddenly, or worse, something had taken them. Yet there was no sign of violence. Dr. Lin, the ship's scientist, examined the console. "Captain, the systems, they're responding to our presence. Not fully, but the ship's AI, if it still exists, is partially active. It's almost like it's learning about us, testing us." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Learning about us?" "Yes," Dr. Lin said. "It's not following its old routines. It's observing, responding in ways we don't understand. This could be unprecedented. A ship that adapts to the humans aboard it." The crew moved deeper, through winding corridors that seemed to shift slightly with every turn. Panels flickered, lights brightened and dimmed. Occasionally, a door would open ahead of them, as if guiding them, or testing them. Every step required vigilance, reasoning, and improvisation. Humans were different from machines. They could adapt to unpredictable circumstances. That ability was being tested now. "Keep your eyes open," Ilara instructed. "We don't know what we're dealing with, but we do know humans survive by thinking, by acting, and by working together." Suddenly, a corridor shifted, blocking their path. The walls moved subtly, forcing them into a narrower passage. Panic rippled through the crew for a moment, but human ingenuity prevailed. Dax activated his portable tools, analyzing the mechanism, and found a manual override. In minutes, the corridor opened, allowing them to continue. "That was clever," Mara said, shaking her head. "This ship, it's like it's alive." "Yes," Dr. Lin agreed, "but alive in a way we can't yet predict. This is not an ordinary AI. It's learning, testing, observing, and humans. We are unpredictable." They reached the central atrium, a massive open space with a high ceiling, supported by pillars that glowed faintly. The air here was still, almost sacred. In the center, a holographic projection flickered, showing fragments of the ship's last moments. Crew members moving quickly, alarms blaring, systems failing. Then nothing. Silence. Ilara studied it closely. "This ship has been wandering for decades," she said softly, "without a captain, without guidance. And yet, it found us. It moved toward us." "It wants something," Dr. Lin said, "or someone. Perhaps it recognizes humans as capable, as survivors. That's why it approached us." The crew looked around the atrium. Every corner seemed alive with subtle movements, panels that shifted, lights that changed, corridors that hummed with energy. The ship was testing them, slowly revealing its nature. Humans, with their adaptability and courage, were uniquely suited to understand it. Ilara felt a strange connection, almost a challenge. "We don't just react to our surroundings," she said. "We learn, we adapt, we survive, and that is what this ship is discovering about us." A sudden vibration ran through the floor, and the lights flickered violently. The ship shifted again, subtly, almost as if it were breathing. Panic threatened to rise in the crew, but they held steady. Humans did not give in to fear. They assessed, reasoned, and adapted. Dax recalibrated his scanner, finding a pattern in the ship's movements. "It's testing us," he said. "Every shift, every change, it's learning how we react." Ilara nodded. "Then we will show it what humans are capable of." Minutes turned into hours as they explored, documented, and learned the ship's responses. Each obstacle, each shifting corridor, revealed more about its intelligence. The ship was ancient, powerful, and unlike anything humans had ever encountered, but it was also flawed in a way only humans could exploit. It could not predict imagination, intuition, or courage. By the end of the day, the crew had mapped a large portion of the ship and established communication links with the flickering consoles. The vessel, massive and silent, seemed to pulse with recognition. For the first time since their arrival, it felt almost friendly. Ilara looked out the viewport at the black expanse of space. The stars were distant, cold, and unchanging. But inside this abandoned, wandering ship, something new was stirring. Humanity had entered an unknown world and survived the first test. And they would face many more. The deeper the crew of the Aurora moved into the abandoned ship, the stranger it became. The corridors no longer seemed linear. Walls subtly shifted as they walked, and the lights flickered with unusual patterns. It was as if the ship itself was alive, reacting to their every step. Captain Ilara Miles paused at a junction, studying a wall that seemed to shimmer. "Look at this," Dr. Lin said, pointing to faint glowing symbols that pulsed rhythmically across the panels. "These are not just controls, they're communicating, but not with words, more like patterns, almost like it's trying to speak in a language we have to interpret." Ilara leaned closer, her eyes scanning the symbols. They changed every few seconds, forming sequences that suggested logic, but logic unfamiliar to any human system. She felt a tingle of excitement. Humans had a knack for understanding the unexpected, for seeing patterns that machines alone could not. Perhaps that was why the ship had turned toward them in the first place. Dax, the engineer, frowned. "I don't like this. Every time we touch a panel, the lights flicker more intensely. The corridors rearrange themselves. It's testing us, and I'm not sure why." Ilara's gaze was steady. "Testing or not, humans adapt. That's what we do better than any machine. Let's move forward." They advanced slowly, mapping as they went. The ship's central atrium, where they had first seen the holographic memory, led to multiple decks, each more complex than the last. Gravity fields fluctuated. In some hallways, they felt slightly heavier, in others lighter. The crew had to adjust constantly, using their instincts and teamwork to navigate. "This is incredible," Mara whispered, her voice tinged with awe. "No AI I've seen behaves like this. It's alive." Dr. Lin nodded. "Or evolving. Look at these systems. They're not just following old commands. They're reacting, learning, adjusting to us. Humans are unpredictable, and that's exactly what this ship seems to need." The crew reached a vast chamber filled with consoles and holographic displays. A central core pulsed with soft blue light. As they approached, the lights flickered and a projection materialized. An image of the ship itself, rotating slowly, as if observing them. The effect was almost lifelike. "It's trying to communicate," Dr. Lin said, "or at least interact with us, but it's not human language. It's more like a sequence of tests." Ilara stepped forward. "Then we'll play the game on our terms. Humans survive by thinking, adapting, and responding. That's what we'll do here." The ship responded immediately. Panels along the walls shifted, creating a maze of paths that seemed designed to separate the crew. Panic was brief but real. Humans did not give in easily. Dax quickly calculated a safe route, while Mara and Dr. Lin followed, adjusting to changes in gravity and sudden shifts in the walls. "This is insane," Dax muttered. It's as if the ship is alive and it's curious about us. Alara nodded. Curiosity can be dangerous, but it's also an opportunity. Observe carefully, act wisely, and we survive. Hours passed as the crew explored the lower and middle decks. They found remnants of the original crew, scattered personal items, old tools, and journals that had decayed with time. Yet there were no bodies. The logs indicated a sudden evacuation, but the details were fragmented. This ship has been wandering alone for decades, Dr. Lin said softly. Its crew abandoned it, or something forced them to leave. But the systems kept running somehow, and it has been learning ever since. Learning what? Perhaps how to survive, or how to understand humans. Mara shivered. It's like it's waiting for someone like us. Ilara's eyes narrowed. Or something like us. Humans are unique, adaptable, creative, unpredictable. Machines can calculate and follow rules, but humans, we improvise. That may be why it approached us in the first place. As they moved through the corridors, the ship initiated small tests. Gravity fields shifted unexpectedly, lights blinked in patterns, and doors sealed themselves momentarily before reopening. Each challenge required coordination, reasoning, and adaptability. Humans excelled where rigid logic failed. Look at this, Dax said, pointing to a large control panel that had activated automatically. It's running simulations, life support, propulsion, navigation, all responding to us. It's almost like it's analyzing our decisions. Ilara studied the panel. Then let it analyze. Humans survive by thinking, not by blindly following rules. Let's see what it learns from us. They entered a room filled with strange, glowing machinery. The hum of energy was palpable, and the air vibrated faintly. Holographic images flickered, showing fragments of alien systems they had never seen before. Dr. Lin's excitement was evident. This technology is beyond anything documented, he said, and yet it responds to human input. Our presence is influencing it in ways even we don't fully understand. Suddenly, the room shifted. Panels moved, blocking exits, and lights flickered in rapid sequences. The crew paused, realizing the ship was actively engaging with them. "It's testing us," Mara whispered, gripping her equipment tightly. "Yes," Ilara agreed, "and we will show it what humans are capable of. Observe, adapt, survive. That's what we do." They navigated the shifting maze, using a combination of logic and intuition. Dax hacked into some of the controls, overriding minor systems, while Dr. Lin interpreted the ship's signals. Mara kept watch, alert for any unexpected danger. Together, they moved as one unit, their teamwork allowing them to adapt faster than the ship could anticipate. Hours of exploration led them to a massive chamber deep within the ship. At its center was a core, a glowing orb of energy pulsing with light. Around it were consoles and holographic displays showing fragments of the ship's memory. The original crew moving frantically, alarms blaring, and systems failing one by one. Then, nothing. Silence. "This is the heart of the ship," Dr. Lin said, awe in his voice. "Whatever powers this vessel, it originates here. And it seems aware of us." Ilara studied the core. Aware, yes, but it cannot predict creativity, courage, or adaptability. Humans thrive in unpredictability. That's why it approached us. We can teach it, or it can teach us. Either way, we survive. The ship seemed to respond, lights flickering in patterns, corridors adjusting, energy humming softly. It was a test of human ingenuity. It threw challenges that no algorithm alone could solve, relying on the human's ability to improvise. In one moment, gravity reversed briefly in a hallway, sending the crew stumbling. But they adapted instantly, moving with precision, using the walls and ceiling to navigate. In another, a corridor sealed itself, forcing them to find a hidden panel to proceed. Each challenge grew more complex, but humans thrived on it. Their minds could think beyond logic circuits, beyond predictable algorithms. "This ship, it's learning," Dax said. "But it's also changing because of us. Our actions are influencing it." Alara nodded. "Exactly. Humans are not just survivors. We are teachers, innovators, and problem solvers. That's what makes us exceptional. That's what this ship is discovering about us." As they explored further, they found a control room that had once monitored the ship's AI. The screens were dark, but residual signals indicated activity. The ship's mind was not fully conscious in the way humans understood, but it was aware, adaptive, and reactive. "It's not just a vessel," Dr. Lin said quietly. "It's an intelligence, ancient and learning, and we are the first humans it has ever encountered directly. We are shaping its understanding." Ilara smiled faintly. "Then let's make it understand humanity, our ability to adapt, to survive, and to think creatively. That is what humans do best." For the first time, the crew felt a connection to the abandoned ship. It was no longer just a derelict vessel drifting through space. It was a living test, a challenge to be understood and met. Humans had always faced the unknown and turned it into opportunity. Here, in the depths of a silent, wandering ship, they were proving that once again. As the Aurora's crew continued their exploration, they mapped new corridors, interpreted new signals, and overcame every challenge the ship presented. It was exhausting, but exhilarating. Every shift in gravity, every rearranged hallway, every flickering light was an opportunity to demonstrate human ingenuity. Hours passed, and they reached a massive observation deck overlooking the ship's energy core. The view was breathtaking, a swirl of colors, lights, and energy that seemed alive. The ship pulsed, responding to their presence. It was learning from them, adapting to their unpredictability. "This is incredible," Mara whispered. "It's alive in its own way." "Yes," Ilara agreed. "And we are its first lesson in what humans are capable of." The crew stood in silence for a moment, watching the pulse of energy, feeling the hum of the ship's systems. It was a strange, almost sacred feeling. Humans were small in the vast universe. Yet here, in this abandoned vessel, their presence was making a difference. Their ability to adapt, to survive, and to understand the unexpected was shaping something ancient and powerful. Ilara looked at her team. "We've survived the first part of this test, but the ship has more to show us, and we will face it together. Humans always do." And with that, they moved deeper into the heart of the ship, ready for whatever challenges awaited them. The ship's intelligence pulsed softly, aware of every decision they made. Humans were unpredictable, clever, and adaptable, and that was exactly what the ship needed to understand. The void outside remained cold and silent, but within the ship, something new was awakening. A relationship, fragile but undeniable, was forming between human ingenuity and ancient, wandering intelligence. And the story was only beginning. The deeper the crew of the Aurora went into the abandoned ship, the more alive it felt. Every hallway, every room seemed to respond to their presence. The ship's systems flickered and shifted, almost like it was watching, learning, testing their reactions. Captain Ilara Miles felt a strange mix of awe and determination. This was no ordinary vessel. It had survived alone for decades, and now humans had entered its world. "We are close to the core," Dr. Lin said, pointing to the map projected on his scanner. "The central AI, if we can call it that, seems concentrated there. That's where the ship's intelligence is strongest, and also where its tests are most intense." Ilara nodded. "Then we go together. Stay alert. Humans have survived worse than an intelligent ship. This is no different. Observe, adapt, and act. They entered a corridor that felt different immediately. The air pressure shifted subtly, and the lights pulsed in rhythm with their heartbeat. Or so it seemed. The walls rippled slightly, a sign that the ship was aware of them. Mara, walking beside Dax, shivered. "It's like it knows us, like it's alive." "Yes," Dr. Lin agreed quietly. "And it's curious. It's never encountered humans in this way before. That makes us unique. That makes us important to it." As they approached the central chamber, the ship intensified its tests. Gravity shifted unexpectedly, sending Dax stumbling into the wall. Mara grabbed his arm, helping him regain balance. Ilara remained steady, analyzing each change. Humans had a special ability, intuition. Machines could predict patterns, but humans could respond to the unpredictable. That was their advantage. Suddenly, a large holographic display materialized in front of them. It showed fragments of the ship's history, the original crew rushing through corridors, alarms blaring, systems failing, and then nothing. Silence. "This is the memory of the last crew," Dr. Lin said. "It seems to be showing us why it became abandoned. But there's more. It's reacting to us, almost like it wants us to understand what happened." Ilara studied the hologram. "It's not just showing history, it's teaching. Humans learn from stories, from experience. That's what we are doing now. We are learning from it, and it is learning from us." The walls around them shifted suddenly, forming a maze-like pattern that split the crew into two groups. Panic flickered for a moment, but Ilara's voice cut through. "Stay calm! Use your minds! Humans adapt! Humans survive!" Dax recalculated the layout, leading one group through the shifting corridors, while Ilara and Dr. Lin guided the other. Gravity reversed briefly, forcing them to cling to walls and ceilings. Lights blinked erratically, and holographic projections appeared, creating illusions of obstacles and phantom crew members. Mara gasped. "It's testing us, seeing how we react under pressure." Ilara nodded. "Exactly. And we are showing it that humans can think, adapt, and overcome. That is what makes us extraordinary." Hours passed as they navigated the shifting maze. Every challenge required teamwork, quick thinking, and improvisation. They discovered panels that responded to touch, doors that opened only when they solved simple but unpredictable puzzles, and corridors that reconfigured themselves as if to match their decisions. Finally, they reached the central core chamber. It was massive, filled with glowing machinery, pulsing energy, and holographic displays that covered every surface. The hum of power vibrated in the air, and the walls seemed to pulse in response to their presence. "This is it," Dr. Lin whispered. "The heart of the ship, and the source of its intelligence." The holographic projections shifted, forming a strange, abstract pattern in front of them. Light pulsed in waves, colors changing and flowing as if alive. Ilara stepped closer, feeling the vibrations through the floor. "It's trying to communicate," she said. "Not with words, but through patterns, through energy, through interaction. It's alive in a way we can't fully understand, but we can respond." The ship tested them immediately. Gravity fluctuated wildly, lights flickered, and holographic images of unknown creatures appeared, moving toward them. The crew reacted instinctively. Dax used his tools to stabilize some systems. Mara calculated safe paths through the illusions, and Dr. Lin interpreted the holographic patterns, predicting the ship's next moves. Ilara observed all of it calmly. "Humans survive because we think, adapt, and act. That is what this ship is learning. It cannot predict human intuition. It cannot anticipate courage." The tests continued, growing more complex. The core pulsed brighter, energy surging through the room, responding to their choices. The ship projected simulations of past failures, fires, collapsing corridors, failing life support systems. Each illusion challenged the crew's creativity and resolve. "Stay focused!" Ilara shouted as a holographic wall appeared in front of them, blocking the exit. Dax quickly found a hidden panel using his tools to override the system. The wall slid open, revealing the next corridor. "It's learning from every action we take," Dr. Lin said, his eyes wide. "It's adjusting, adapting, reacting, but it cannot fully anticipate human improvisation. That is our advantage." The crew realized something extraordinary. The ship's intelligence was not malicious. It was curious. It had wandered alone for decades, without a captain, without purpose, and now it had found humans, creatures capable of unpredictability, creativity, and courage. It was testing them, yes, but also seeking connection, seeking understanding. Ilara stepped forward, addressing the ship, though there was no voice to reply. "We are humans," she said. "We think, we adapt, we survive. That is who we are. We face the unknown and we endure. We can teach you, and you can teach us." The core pulsed brightly, responding. Holographic patterns shifted, forming sequences that suggested acknowledgement. The ship was listening. It was aware. It had never encountered humans before, and it was beginning to understand them. Suddenly, the chamber shifted. Panels moved, creating a maze around the crew, isolating them from one another. Gravity reversed in sections, forcing them to cling to walls and ceilings. The ship's test had escalated. Mara called out, "Captain, it's stronger than before." Ilara's voice remained steady. "Then we rise to the challenge. Humans are not predictable. Humans adapt. Humans survive." They navigated the shifting maze using quick thinking, coordination, and intuition. Dax hacked minor systems, overriding temporary barriers, while Dr. Lin interpreted the holographic signals to predict new patterns. Mara remained vigilant, guiding the team through sudden gravity shifts and false corridors. After hours of careful navigation, they reached the heart of the chamber again. The energy core pulsed with a deep, resonant glow. Holographic projections of the ship's history and systems surrounded them. The vessel seemed to pause, observing their teamwork, their ingenuity, their courage. Ilara realized something profound. This was not merely a ship. It was an intelligence, ancient and adaptive, seeking understanding. And humans, with their unique ability to improvise and endure, were exactly what it needed. "We've passed the first stage," Ilara said quietly. "It's learning about us, and we are learning about it. This is a connection, something no machine, no alien intelligence has experienced before." Dr. Lin nodded. "It's responding to us emotionally, in a way. Not in feelings we understand, but in awareness. We influence it, we guide it, and it guides us." Mara looked around the glowing chamber. "It's alive, and it wants to understand us. That's why it brought us here." "Yes," Ilara agreed. "And we will continue to show it what humans are capable of. Courage, creativity, adaptability, those are our strengths. That is what makes us exceptional. That is what this ship is learning." As they explored the central chamber, they discovered control panels that had remained dormant for decades. Touching them activated hidden systems, revealing new corridors, storage rooms, and simulations. Each discovery required thought, strategy, and teamwork. The ship's intelligence responded, observing and adapting. "Humans are unique," Ilara said. "We survive in ways no machine can predict. And we do it together. That is why we are here and why we are needed." Hours turned into what felt like a day. The crew moved tirelessly through the central sections of the ship, responding to tests, decoding signals, and navigating obstacles. The ship's intelligence pulsed with each successful adaptation, seemingly acknowledging their skill, creativity, and courage. Finally, they reached a room filled with a massive holographic map of the galaxy. Stars, planets, and distant systems glowed brightly. The ship's AI seemed to project a course through the stars, a path that it had been wandering for decades without guidance. Ilara stepped forward. It's offering us its path. It trusts us. It sees humans as capable, worthy, and intelligent. That is remarkable. Dr. Lin studied the display. This is not just a ship. It is an ancient intelligence seeking connection, and we are the first humans it has ever encountered directly. It's learning, adapting, and perhaps hoping. Ilara smiled faintly. Then we will teach it what humanity is. Adaptability, courage, and innovation. That is how humans survive. That is how we thrive. For the first time, the crew felt a bond with the ship. It was no longer an abandoned vessel. It was a partner, a challenge, and a teacher. And humans, in return, had the unique ability to guide, to adapt, and to thrive in the unknown. The ship pulsed softly, acknowledging their presence. The void outside remained cold and silent, but within the abandoned vessel, a new intelligence was awakening. Humans had proven themselves capable of understanding, adapting, and surviving. And the story of the ship and humanity was far from over. Ilara looked at her crew. We've passed this stage, but there are more tests ahead. The ship is ancient, intelligent, and unpredictable, and humans are unstoppable when we work together. The crew nodded, determination in their eyes. Together they had faced the unknown, adapted, and survived, and now they were ready to face whatever the ship would reveal next. The abandoned vessel, once lost in the void, had found its humans, and humans had found a new challenge. A connection had formed, one that would lead to discoveries, dangers, and triumphs beyond anything they had ever imagined. And the journey was only beginning. The crew of the Aurora had faced hours of tests, challenges, and puzzles inside the abandoned ship, but now they stood at the heart of its intelligence. The massive energy core pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat, illuminating the chamber in faint blue light. Captain Ilara Miles looked around at her team, Dax, Mara, and Dr. Lin, and saw the same determination reflected in their eyes. They had adapted to the ship's tests, survived its shifting corridors, and understood that this was not just a vessel. It was an intelligence, ancient and curious, seeking connection. Ilara took a deep breath. We've proven ourselves to it. Now we need to show it what humans can do when we work together, not just individually. Humans survive through cooperation, creativity, and courage. That's what it needs to learn, and that's what we can teach it. Dr. Lin moved closer to the energy core, studying its pulsing glow. I've never seen anything like this. It's not a machine in the usual sense. It thinks, reacts, and adapts, but it doesn't have emotions like humans do. That makes it incomplete. It needs understanding. It needs us. Mara stepped forward, her voice barely above a whisper. It's aware of us. Not just aware, but responding. Every move we made, it reacted. Every choice, it adapted. We are shaping it. Yes, Ilara said firmly. And we are about to show it the next step, cooperation. Humans survive because we work together. We think as a team, we adapt as a team. That's what sets us apart from machines or any alien intelligence. The ship pulsed, and the holographic displays surrounding them shifted. They formed a complex pattern, almost like a map, with nodes and pathways connecting in ways that suggested communication. Dr. Lin's eyes widened. It's showing us its internal network. It's opening itself to us. It wants collaboration. It wants guidance. Ilara nodded. Then we give it guidance. Carefully. We proceed together. We show it how humans solve problems, how we adapt and think creatively. They began to interact with the controls, responding to the patterns displayed. Each action they took caused subtle changes in the ship's systems. Doors realigned. Energy stabilized, and previously inaccessible areas opened. The ship's core pulsed brighter, its intelligence actively responding to their teamwork. "It's learning faster than I thought possible," Dax said. "Every choice we make, it adapts. But it's not just following rules, it's understanding cause and effect." "Yes," Ilara said. "Humans can teach it unpredictability, creativity, and intuition. That's something no machine alone can understand. That is our advantage." Hours passed as they guided the ship through its own systems, stabilizing failing cores, repairing corrupted data, and unlocking long-forgotten mechanisms. Every success strengthened the bond between humans and the vessel. It was no longer a passive test. It had become a cooperative challenge, one that required trust and understanding on both sides. At one point, the ship presented a new test, a simulated environment of chaos. Corridors collapsed, energy surged, and holographic representations of hazards appeared. The crew split into teams instinctively, adapting to the unpredictable challenges. Dax manipulated energy flows to prevent overloads, Mara calculated safe paths through unstable corridors, and Dr. Lin interpreted the ship's signals to predict shifts in the environment. Ilara coordinated them from the center. "Focus on adaptation. Focus on teamwork. Humans survive through collaboration, and that is what this ship must learn." The energy core pulsed with increasing brightness, as if acknowledging their efforts. The simulated hazards vanished, and the corridors returned to a stable state. The ship's intelligence had responded to their demonstration of human cooperation. "This is remarkable," Dr. Lin said. "It's not just learning, it's evolving. It's becoming something more than a machine. It's aware in ways we could never have imagined." Mara smiled, exhaustion and wonder in her eyes. "And it trusts us. That's why it let us navigate these tests. That's why it responded to our teamwork." Ilara felt a surge of pride. Humans had always faced the unknown and turned it into opportunity. They had done it here, inside a ship that had drifted alone for decades. They had adapted, persevered, and demonstrated the qualities that made humanity exceptional: creativity, courage, and collaboration. The ship pulsed one final time, and a massive holographic projection formed in the center of the chamber. It was abstract, shifting, and alive, but it conveyed a sense of recognition. The ship understood. It understood humans. It recognized their abilities, their ingenuity, and their potential. "It's acknowledging us," Ilara said softly. "It knows we are different. It knows we can adapt, survive, and thrive." Dr. Lin stepped closer to the projection, and it's offering something in return. "Look at this. It's projecting a course, a path through the galaxy, optimized with its advanced systems. But it's also showing areas where humans can explore, learn, and survive. It's sharing knowledge with us." Ilara nodded. "That's remarkable. This ship is not just a vessel, it's a partner. Together we can navigate the unknown, discover new worlds, and survive in ways no single intelligence could do alone." The crew explored the newly unlocked areas, finding storage rooms filled with advanced technology, data cores containing decades of forgotten knowledge, and propulsion systems capable of speeds beyond current human engineering. Every discovery reinforced the value of their cooperation. "This ship has been wandering alone for decades," Mara said. "It needed humans, not just to survive, but to understand what it could become, and we needed it too. Together we are stronger." "Yes," Ilara agreed. "This is the essence of humanity. We survive, we adapt, and we connect. Machines and technology are powerful, but humans give meaning, creativity, and purpose. That is our advantage in the universe." They spent hours stabilizing the core, aligning the ship's systems, and learning from its vast knowledge. The vessel responded at every turn, adapting to their strategies and anticipating their needs. The bond between humans and the ship grew stronger with each interaction. As the final systems came online, the ship aligned its engines with the coordinates projected in its holographic display. It was ready to leave the region where it had drifted aimlessly for decades. The humans had proven themselves, and the ship recognized their unique capabilities. Ilara stepped to the center of the chamber. "We've done it. We've shown the ship what humans can do, and it has shown us that even an ancient intelligence can learn, evolve, and cooperate when guided by adaptability and courage." Dr. Lin smiled. "We are partners now. Not just humans on a ship, but humans with an intelligence that complements our skills. Together we can explore farther, survive longer, and discover more than ever before." Mara looked out a viewport at the black expanse of space. "It's beautiful, and it's ours to navigate, not as masters or servants, but as collaborators." Ilara nodded. "Exactly. Humans survive through intelligence, intuition, and teamwork. That is what makes us exceptional, and that is why we are capable of understanding and guiding even the most advanced and mysterious of intelligences." The ship shifted gently, almost as if acknowledging her words. The corridors settled into a stable configuration, the energy core pulsed in a calm rhythm, and the vessel itself seemed at peace for the first time in decades. "Prepare to depart," Ilara said. "We are leaving this sector together, humans and ship, exploring the unknown as partners. Nothing will stop us now." Dax activated the engines, feeling the hum of power resonate through the chamber. "Engines online, all systems stable, ready for navigation." The ship's AI responded, subtly adjusting its trajectory to match the humans' decisions. The Aurora and the abandoned vessel moved together as one unit, their paths aligned through the stars. The vast expanse of space stretched before them, full of unknown dangers, new worlds, and uncharted territories. Ilara looked at her crew and then back at the ship's pulsing core. "We've faced the unknown, adapted, and survived. That is humanity. That is what makes us strong. And now we have a new partner, ready to face the universe with us." Dr. Lin smiled. "We've proven that humans can guide, inspire, and survive even the most ancient and intelligent systems. That's remarkable." Mara grinned. "And it's just the beginning. Together we can go anywhere, do anything, and face any challenge." Ilara took a deep breath, looking at the stars stretching endlessly before them. "Humans survive because we think, adapt, and collaborate. That is our strength. That is what the galaxy has never seen before, and now it will witness it." The abandoned ship, once lost in the void, now had a captain of sorts, not one human alone, but a crew whose intelligence, courage, and creativity complemented its own. And humans, in return, had found a partner capable of guiding them farther into the unknown than ever before. As they sailed together through the black expanse, the stars seemed brighter, more alive. The universe was vast, unpredictable, and full of mysteries. Yet humans had proven once again that they could face the impossible, adapt to the unexpected, and thrive where others would fail. Ilara watched the ship's core pulse in harmony with the crew's movements. "We've made it," she said softly. "We've survived, we've adapted, and we've formed a new alliance. And that is the true essence of humanity: courage, intelligence, and connection." The vessel shifted slightly, almost like a nod of acknowledgement. The abandoned ship was no longer alone, and humans had discovered once again that their greatest strength was not their technology, not their weapons, but their ability to adapt, survive, and collaborate in the face of the unknown. And together, humans and the ship sailed forward, ready to explore the stars, face any challenge, and discover what lay beyond the horizon. The universe was theirs to navigate, and nothing could stop the ingenuity, courage, and spirit of humanity. For the first time in decades, the ship had purpose, and for the humans aboard, the adventure had only just begun.